Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dead Men Tell No Tales, a Ghosts of Saltmarsh story. I am so glad that you guys are joining us. Sorry we're a little bit late tonight. We've had some tech gremlins haunting us behind the scenes, but it wouldn't be a Friday night or Nerdsmith stream without a little bit of tech issues, but we'll get those out eventually. Tonight we are joined by a special guest character who will be coming back and joining us periodically throughout the stream. So I will go ahead and let our lovely friend Loki introduce himself real quick.
Hi, I'm Loki. I'm your special guest player. I have no idea what Tess has in store for me. I'll just leave it at that.
Delightful. Excellent. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Complete mystery. Heather will be joining us at some point. Currently, she is not necessarily being played, or she's not necessarily playing a fish person, but she will return as soon as she can. She had no work emergency and will join us shortly. So really quickly, as always, let's do a quick shout out to our amazing sponsors. Our first wonderful sponsor is World Anvil, the most comprehensive world building and campaign management software on the internet today. We know because we've tried them all, and by far they are the most fantastic, the best. You cannot go wrong as a writer or a storyteller or a character wanting to keep track of the worlds that we create. You can join World Anvil for free, take a look at their software, get an idea of what they have to offer, and then become a guild member for even more amazing features. You should go ahead and go to www.worldanvil.com and check them out. Or on Saturdays, they do a stream and you can hear all about the upcoming features. They have a roadmap that is constantly being updated with new ideas, new features that Demetrius and Janet are putting together for their users. They've just reached, I believe, 400,000 plus active users on worldanvil.com, which is an amazing accomplishment. I think they hit 200,000 not that long ago, so they doubled their size pretty quickly. They also just won a Emmy, and it's very, very well deserved. So we are so thankful to them for being our sponsors and so happy to be partners with them. So you should go and check out worldanvil.com. Our next sponsor is Die Hard Dice. If you want to roll with the best, you should go to dieharddice.com and check them out. They are an amazing dice company. They have fantastic customer service as well as gorgeous dice. If you are a dice dragon like me and enjoy the click-clack shiny math rocks, I cannot recommend them enough. I believe that we will have a code for 15% off coming up. Not this week, but probably the week after. We should have that in place so that you can join us and get 15% off of a set that you order for you. I am eyeing a couple of sets out there that I'm just making eyes at and hoping they come to me at some point. So they're gorgeous. The one I think that I am most excited about is Undertow, which they came out with not that long ago. It definitely gets me in the mood to play this game with a name like that and the deep blue and black colors. It makes me want to play.
Their dire D20s are also exceptional. I bought some for my brother for his birthday.
Oh, really? I haven't seen how big the dire D20s are yet in person. I didn't think they actually. No, I take that back because they were at WonderCon, so I did get to look at them in person. They're very cool looking. Next week we will not have a stream as Heather, Matthew, and I will be at Rose City Comic Con doing a panel up there. So we will not have a episode or a new episode. We might have a rerun take place instead. So, but if you are going to be at Rose City Comic Con, please come and check us out. We're doing a panel at 10:30 on diversity and inclusivity in gaming at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday with some other Nerdsmith folks. You guys should come and check us out. We'd love to meet you, love to say hello. And if you guys want, might have a little bit of a Nerdsmith get together and hang out with the rest of the crew. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. All right. Well, I know Heather should get here shortly. So because we have a new player tonight, we'll go ahead and we'll get started with a little bit of introduction before we dive into the meat of our story. So let's set sail, shall we? All right, welcome back, everybody. Last time on Saltmarsh, our intrepid party had ventured into a haunted house, found not only some bandits and some proof of illicit activity, but found the famed alchemist himself, known for turning metals and other objects into solid gold. I believe they found several artifacts that were turned to solid gold: an apple, a few weights, and I think a human skull that had all become solid gold. So interesting that. They also found a new friend by the name of Dal, who was formerly a smuggler for the crew that was using this as a little haven. They also found a signaling system and how to use said system to alert a ship that has been coming in every couple of weeks to make port and pick up new supplies to be smuggled off to who knows where. On that ship, they found lots of brandy, they found very rich textiles, and hints of a different, more nefarious cargo being smuggled off. With the disappearance of several people over the last couple of months, it is discovered that not only is the trade doing well with booze and bolts of fabric, but also people. They brought their findings, including a ship that they found, as well as their newfound companion Dal, to the council, where the council said they would take it under advisement. They were very happy for the inspection that the crew had done, and will be in touch with them shortly for next steps. It's been a couple of days. It's the ship, you have learned, comes in every 2 weeks. It's probably the day before it's due to come in, and you all are a little bit on edge, waiting for the council to decide what it is exactly that they want you guys to be doing. Urzak, you're not a Saltmarsh citizen, are you? You don't live in the town itself. Where is it that you are from? Is it specifically that you don't really have a town that you belong to, do you? Or is it just you just belong out in the woods? Tell us a little bit about where Urzak and give us a little description of what he's like, please.
Sure. So Urzak is an itinerant. He's a half-orc druid, as most of you can see on stream. He basically wanders from place to place in the Saltmarsh vicinity, the lands around the city of Saltmarsh, and he considers it his personal job to maintain the equilibrium between the spirits that dwell in the wilderness and the forces of civilization that encroach thereon, particularly if, for example, someone is overzealous in their drawing from the land, or if the land is so out of sorts that it gets too violent and can cause reprisals that might draw more civilization. Ideally, he would like to see a balance, but it's a hard act to follow, and there are not many that do what he does.
Alrighty. So The forest that you dwell in is probably maybe a mile or two outside of Saltmarsh limits. Saltmarsh in itself is not an inherently large town. There is a bit of lumber mill type activity that does happen. And now there's a mine that is also happening. So there's definitely more industry coming to this small, sleepy seaside town. It's a little bit more activity than Urzok would probably like to see in the area. But you're not without your contacts in the town itself, and you are approached by a representative from the council, or at least a council member's representative in the form of Scarin Wave Chaser, who sends you a message and asks to meet you at the, let's see, I'm trying to think what tavern he would prefer to meet you in, or does Urzok have a favorite meeting place?
So Urzok, probably, there's a place they probably go to wherever, whenever he and Scarin meet up, Scarin always brings him, for lack of a better phrase, I can't think of any specific example, drugs. They trade intoxicating substances, and, probably almost like a medieval opium den, I would imagine.
Okay, then. So you guys would be meeting at, excuse me while I flip through my notes. Which, of course, has now disappeared from me, because why would the things I want to find be easily accessible to me? The Wicker Goat. There we go. That's where I was looking for. So you make arrangements to meet Scarin at the Wicker Goat in town. Scarin, as you know, is the not necessarily keeper of, but the steward to Anders, who is on the council. Scarin is an older gentleman. He's a very keen-eyed, very smart, very reserved, and seems to care very deeply for his young ward Anders, and having served his family for quite some time. So we'll go ahead and pick up at the Wicker Goat with a meeting between Scarin and Urzok. And so as Scarin enters the bar, what is it exactly that he would see when looking for Urzok?
About 6 foot, 200 pounds worth of half orc trying desperately to not be in anyone's way or really noticed in any way, shape, or form. Very, very obviously uncomfortable in this environment, but also kind of frantically looking around for when his contact will show up.
So Scarin walks in, confident, sure of himself. He nods to the bartender, nods to a few people who raise a glass at his entrance, and joins you at a table. Urzok, good to see you as always. Thank you very much for coming.
You brought it, I assume.
Of course. And he
Urzok
hands over.
Yeah.
He hands over
pulls out the pipe, starts loading it, and you can see him just visibly relax as I should be able to come up with a fantastic name for some illicit substance, but I can't, so I'm not going to.
That's okay. We will find out what it is.
As the effects just kind of take hold, you can see him slowly able to relax in this very unfamiliar setting.
I do have a favor to ask, if it would be possible.
I assume you wouldn't have asked me here if you didn't have something you wanted.
Well, there are some concerns. Recently, a smuggling operation was found just outside of town, and while the goods that were recovered are material in nature, there are goods that have not been, that are more, let's say, more precious than material wealth. We are talking about missing people who need to be recovered.
Slavers.
Indeed. We myself and Anders, I should say, are concerned. There is a group of adventurers that have been chosen from both the Loyalist and the Traditionalist factions here in town. And while Anders himself does not necessarily answer to either of those factions, there is perhaps the slight implication that one of the council members could be involved in such operations. I'd like you to join them if possible. Make sure to find out where their allegiances are. Make sure that they are to the good of Saltmarsh and its people, and not necessarily the pockets of those who seek to line them with things that glitter and opulence.
You know I care nothing. Yes, you and your petty human politics. I'll do this because there are slavers involved. No for any other reason.
It is appreciated, of course. There will be a meeting later for you to get involved with the rest of the group. I do think they will need someone with a good head on their shoulders, someone strong-willed, who knows what's good for the area, not just, well, you know what we are up against.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch. I imagine that the meeting will take place in 3 or 4 hours' time at City Hall. Is that enough time to gather any necessary things that you require?
He kind of gestures with his chin to a bag on the floor next to his chair. I have everything I need. Just give me time to... He draws a note to get on the pipe.
Of course. Well, we will see you in several hours' time at City Hall then. Thank you for your assistance, as always. I know both myself and Anders appreciate it greatly. And if there is any evidence that one of the council members is involved in this slaving and trading operation, I trust that you'll bring it to me.
I will make sure that they get what is coming to them.
Excellent. Thank you, Irzak. And Scarin stands, bows his head, and heads out of the Wicker Goat. You have several hours to kill. Is there anything in particular that Irzak is going to do aside from smoking his pipe?
Are there any, I guess, parks or areas of like preserved greenery within the city limits, or is it pretty much all streets and buildings?
There are some little common areas where is greenery, little park, nothing official. There's no like official city park or anything like that. But Saltmarsh itself is fairly rough and tumble. There are large bits of nature that pop up in between the buildings, in between streets. It is not an entirely tamed area by any stretch of the imagination.
He'll kind of stagger out of the Wicker Goat once he's taken his fill, and again, not making any like careful movements. Again, stagger, very uneven, and just kind of making his way from place to place wherever he sees, plant greenery. He'll do his best to coax it to grow more, and then he'll probably just go down to the docks and just stare out at the ocean for a while.
There are plenty of places to sit and stare at the ocean. Right, for everyone else, what is it that you are doing this morning? Is there anything particular on your agenda?
I have a question first. Would I have been able to get the cartographer's tools that I have proficiency in but don't own? Would I be able to get a set of those over the last few days?
Yes, that is definitely doable.
I would have spent the morning with the map that they gave me, like going over and making notes on how to like maybe adjust it to be a little bit better. Like, this is actually slightly closer than it is, like measuring, and spend the morning doing that.
All right. Excellent.
Jaffer would be, as she does every morning, in between drinks, she would be working on some random person's ship, kind of fitting them for departure as quickly as possible. And that's essentially what tips her entire morning, is just work, keeping her hands busy.
All right.
Gwilyn would have, in this time, talked to her family a bit about the job, once she could do so in private, about the job that she was offered, and ask their advice. Mention that this operation that had been found and potential crew to help out with, and the ship that they had found. She would have relayed all of that, and any jobs that her family had for her in the area she'd be taken care of.
Great.
Beyond that, not too much.
Your family kind of cautions you to be careful with this job. Obviously, there is great potential and great allies to be had here, but to remember what it is your family does, and to be very careful that nothing in this job ends up accidentally incriminating them.
Right. Which is why she would be offering these other group and potential ship.
Exactly.
And probably she would start, she might start trying to get closer to this group as subtly as she could while they're not working on the job.
Is there anyone in particular that you start with? I know that you and Coral are already fairly close.
After Coral, she would probably start with Jaffer, because she knows that Jaffer's looking for work and would try and work that angle of potential work if you don't ask too many questions. But she'd kind of try and get a feel for that. I don't know if you want to roleplay that or not.
What you'll understand, I'll say, in a logistic standpoint, is that Jaffer really doesn't. She's not people, but it seems like she's really confident around the group that we've kind of created. She has to her that seems like she used to be really good at talking to people, but she had kind of kept to herself for too long. So you probably have a lot of leeway around a lot of people, so she would have tried to put on a proper show of herself, try not to push too far, but be professional in getting more contacts to work with.
I mentioned that you find Jaffer not too far from Motley's pub, so
She'd try there first.
And Crackers, is there anything in particular that you are up to this morning?
Yes, I am secreted away in my apartment, and I am working on a new composition that I am in the midst of writing, and I think it will be quite wonderful. It is a tale of courtly love. It's quite chaste, very, very romantic and endearing. Quite different from the drabble I'm usually forced into singing at taverns, much to my shame.
Excellent. And Coral is currently taking care of her gran, but I imagine that she should be done with that task fairly soon. I did hear rumors of her arrival back in town. So while you are all spending the morning doing your various activities, at some point a courier comes and finds each of you, whether from Edda or Gellin. Fortune, your courier specifically comes from Gellin to invite you to a council meeting this afternoon to make sure to make sure that you are in attendance to deal with the information that they have found about this ship. So you are all tasked with arriving at the City Council Hall in an hour or two. I see Coral in our chat now, so I believe she might be ready. I apologize if she's not fully got her computer up and running, but I imagine she'll be with us shortly. Coral, just so you know, because I know you are listening at the moment, you are getting a courier to come to City Hall to discuss the plans for the smuggling ship. You do not have to respond. You do not have to respond to this message.
I can respond. I will be on very shortly. Sorry, everyone.
It is okay. We understand work emergencies happen. All right. So an hour or so later, you all gather, and you can see the council all gathered around in their chambers. Anders at the table, and Scarin off to one side. And you all arrive one after the other, slightly staggered. Urzak, are you the type of person to be on time, early, or slightly late?
He will be on time for this one.
Okay. All right. So you are on time. The rest of you will arrive, and you see a very tall, muscular half-orc sitting in the room, a little awkwardly, kind of darting his eyes out a little bit, seemingly uncomfortable in his environment, not engaging in any of the conversation that's happening. He does occasionally look over to Anders and occasionally to Scarin as he waits for everyone else's arrival.
As Jaffer does arrive, she's walking in. She has a little clockwork turtle in her hands, and she's currently taking it apart. So she's walking slowly enough so that in her periphery, if she sees something coming towards her, she can move out of the way. But she is very distracted.
All right. So, Urzak, you see this small pink-haired gnome woman walking in, carrying a small clockwork toy that she seems to be very intent on.
Has your hair always been that shade?
Ever since I was a little girl. Mm-hmm. It must be the waters where I grew up.
Somehow I doubt this.
She puts her toy down, quickly screws it apart so that doesn't fall apart. Hi, I'm Jaffer. She puts her hand out.
I am Urzak Stormcrow.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Jaffer Zanziv. Stormcrow?
He points to some of the feathers that are done up in his braid.
Jaffer gestures to her outfit, which is some fish scale mail. She has a cape on that has some like mantis ray appearance to it, and she has a circlet that has little like seafaring animals on it that goes from temple on the back of her head to other temple. Yep.
He doesn't. He just kind of sits there and just takes you in.
I charge by the minute, just so you know. And she winks. And does she turn? She looks around. Does she see where she's supposed to be?
She does see
anything...
where you see the council all in heated conversation at the moment. And then you see Gwilyn coming in right behind you, not too far after. And then in the distance, you can see Crackers winging his way towards the council chambers, with Fortune and Coral coming from different angles. Coral a little bit further behind Fortune.
Hello, Jaffa. That looks intense over there. How are you doing?
I'm freaking out a little bit. But, you know how it is. I'm trying to be, put on airs.
No worries. I got your back. Who's this?
I'm Urzok Stormcrow. And you are?
Gwilyn Hayes. Nice to meet you. Are you part of this, then?
No, I have no part in this.
Then why are you here?
To do a job.
Suppose that's valid. Where are we supposed to be, anyway? No one ever tells you that.
It's really annoying.
Right?
I believe you should ask the parrot. He looks extremely knowledgeable.
I never ask the parrot anything if I can help it. Hello, Crackers. How are you?
I think I like this person more than I've ever liked another humanoid-type creature in my life. Yes, I'm
Wouldn't
fine,
take
thank
much.
you.
I am half human, if it makes you feel any better.
Yeah, mostly the same to me.
He speaks wisdom, this noble parrot.
You talk to parrots often. Thought so. She begins to walk towards the council members.
I'm not entirely sure if I should be offended by that.
Usually the answer is yes, love. And she'd follow.
Go ahead, and Fortune and Coral. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So, Urzok Stormcrow, you say?
That is my name.
I don't recall seeing you much around Saltmarsh. Are you from the area?
I am. I live in the wilds.
Oh. Well, how's that going?
It is a feat of endurance and of spirit. You don't get out much, do you?
As little as possible.
Realizing that he may have criminally misjudged his impression of the parrot, he will turn to the otter folk who has arrived, and he will bow. Little sister, it has been some time since I have seen some of your folk.
Oh, hello. Yeah, there's not a lot of us around here. So how are you doing?
I would do
She'll bow back.
almost anything to get out of this place and back outside where I belong.
It is nice to be out in the open, that's true. I miss the seas around Lamina now but, Gran needed the assistance, so I'm here in town for a while.
It is a good thing that you do to help an elder.
She's worth it. She's got me running a bit behind this morning, though.
I believe that their time is more valuable than ours because it is more limited.
It's fair enough. I'm Coral. It's nice to meet you.
Urzok, it is also nice to meet you.
And Fortune brings up the rear of the group, having maybe spent a little bit of extra time fixing his hair this morning.
He's
Potentially for Gallon. I'm kidding. I am teasing slightly.
no, his clothes are definitely more clean than usual. Who's this? He's looking right at Urzok.
Perhaps you do not hear well. I have introduced myself twice already. I am Urzok Stormcrow.
I wasn't listening. Oh,
It is the same thing. Yes, it is nice. Your group is very colorful, with the parrot, and the pink hair, and the blue hair, and the red hair.
We are very colorful, yes.
I suppose that's true. We wouldn't exactly blend in out in the wild, would we?
Perhaps in the jungles, but not in the swamp or on the coastline, no.
I don't know. I think we'll live in fine underwater.
Well, hopefully you won't have to get in. As Gellin walks over, smile on his face, giving everybody a bow and a nod to Urzok as well. Thank you all for joining us. I imagine that we will be done with our little tete-a-tete shortly. It is wonderful to see you all. Thank you for coming on such short notice.
Of course.
I apologize that our hospitality has not been as open as we would like this evening. But we should be done shortly. Of course. And almost as if on cue, as he finishes, the rest of the group kind of nod and take their places at a round table and invite you to take the empty seats so that everyone is sitting around the table all together to discuss. Edda looks slightly irritated, and Manistrad looks deeply perturbed at the same time. Gellin, as always, looks polished and as smooth as possible. Anders has a bit of heat behind his cheeks. Not necessarily anger, but something has definitely gotten his exuberance up. And instead of Edda taking the lead, Anders stands and turns to you all. Thank you all for coming on short notice. I know that the ship that you discovered the existence of is due to come back tonight or tomorrow night. I wanted to make sure that we had a moment with all of you to discuss a potential plan for going forward. I hope you do not mind me bringing in an associate of Scarin's, Mr. Urzok Stormcrow. I believe he comes highly recommended by Scarin as someone who knows not only the area outside of Saltmarsh, but someone who has Saltmarsh's best interests at heart at the same time. So I really would very much like it if Urzok joined you on this mission. I believe it could be very dangerous, and more hands makes lighter work. At least that's what my mom used to say.
I'm sure that won't be a problem, Anders. We're glad to have the help.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
It's, this is not usually the type of thing that we discuss at council meetings, but any sort of indication that the Sea Princes might be back is one that should be taken seriously and met head-on. And while some of my compatriots agree, some don't, and as always, we are divided on exactly the best way to proceed. But at least we are all in agreement that the Sea Princes do not pose anything good for Saltmarsh as a whole, or its surrounding areas. And the issue of slaving should be dealt with as quickly as possible.
And harshly.
Agreed.
Very harshly.
Seconded.
Have you heard anything new? Did you get confirmation on the fact that it's them?
We have not heard if it's them or not. That's what we're hoping that you guys can discover. We do have the element of surprise on our hands, as far as we know, since you all were there to deal with the situation at the house. The word has not reached the ship, I'm sure, of the demise of the people that they were going to be meeting. So as far as the folks on the ship should be concerned, nothing should be out of order, I hope. And you've now, of course, acquired a way to contact the ship, and so hopefully using those signals, we will be able to assuage them that everything is as it should be. It will be up to you to figure out how to get onto the ship, to figure out what exactly they have, where they're coming from, and, well, what their intention is for the area. Manistrad, the dwarf, kind of just pipes up. And whether or not it poses any threat to our mines and the mining operations, if people are being taken away from the crown because of their influence or their job here, then this is just more than just a local issue. This is something that should go all the way to the monarch himself. And Edda stands up. This is a local issue and will be dealt with as such, Manistrad. There is no evidence yet that it is the Sea Princes. There is no evidence of any external influences. We need to be sure that this stays a Saltmarsh matter and will be dealt with appropriately. Peter starts to turn a little bit pink as the two women on the council tenseness begins to show again in their cheeks. And sensing this, Scarin, though he is not on the council, steps forward and lays a hand on Anders' shoulder. What I think my young charge is trying to say is that any information regarding the location that these ships are coming from and their dealings would be greatly appreciated and rewarded. Yes, thank you, Scarin. That is exactly what I was trying to say. Council, of course, is prepared to offer you a payment for your work. We understand that this is not easy or without its risks. We do hope that everything goes swimmingly. If you have any questions, please feel free. We are at your disposal, as we would like to make this as simple for you as possible. And you are doing Saltmarsh a great favor by investigating.
I would like to ask, what kind of assistance we're going to be getting from you guys here on the mainland?
Well, in this particular instance, since this is merely fact-finding, and we want to not alarm anyone that anything has gone awry, we aim to be very quiet on our end, although we will have eyes on the ship, and should you need assistance, send up a signal of some sort and we will come to your aid immediately.
Got it.
Well, what I mean exactly is that the signals we were... Where'd it go? The signals we found in the mines for the lantern, I mean, there's one to say, is it safe? There's one to say that it is safe. And she pulls out a piece of paper. And there's one to say, ready to unload, come to the ship. So, given those signals, the assumption would be that they're asking if it's safe. And if it is safe, then they tell us to bring things to the ship. If we show up and it's not who they expect, what exactly are we going to be doing about it?
I imagine a group as talented as yours, Gellin is standing and speaking, should have many inventive ways of making it out to the ship unseen. They do arrive by night. I imagine that they could be focused elsewhere. If I believe they thought that it was unsafe, I don't know that they would come in closer to harbor. You do have some magic at your assistance. Perhaps we can conjure up a fog cloud to obscure your arrival, if necessary.
So we're looking at telling them that it's unsafe and then finding our way out to the ship to investigate it directly if possible.
I would say that you would tell them that it is safe so they come into harbor. And while their attention is focused on looking for their normal ships, perhaps you approach from a different direction while their attention is looking for where their ships normally come from. That would be my particular advice in this situation. Willen, I do think that you probably have just as much skill as the rest of us when it comes to navigating discreet situations.
Well, you know, the merchant business. You have to be discreet in that sometimes.
Indeed.
That's
And
fair
a
enough.
smart, business-minded woman you are. Mr. Stormcrow, how are you with, I'm not aware of what your particular talents are or where they lie, but are you proficient in the use of magic, or are you here for brain? Are you here for brawn over brain?
Sorry. He will do a little bit of druid craft to illustrate the point. He's not exceedingly muscular, but he's fairly weathered just from living outside as much as he does. Maybe do a little produce flame, a little shape water, some elemental showing.
Excellent. I think that will be a very useful tool. Now, we could arrange for one of us to be in the house to give the signal if you would prefer to approach from the other direction once you see the signals being given.
I think that would be helpful, honestly.
I would think that'd be better.
It gives us more time.
I can make sure that one of my folks is there. Or I know that you have a new friend, I believe, Dal. Maybe he is someone that you could use for that situation if you prefer to use your own men.
I've actually got a different idea in mind for him, if you don't mind, Jaffer. I think it might work better when we're trying to distract him.
Of course not. He's our employee.
Excellent. Is there anything that any of you require before this evening that I could procure for you? I am at your disposal.
I can think of anything. I pretty much have this down tap. I know that's going to happen.
Stiff drink might be nice.
I changed my answer.
Yes.
I mean, speaking of a stiff drink, it might not be bad to have a couple of healing potions if you've got any.
I will check my store and see what I have available.
I don't need anything worth mentioning to the council, so I'm okay.
Very well. We will go ahead and let you all plan. I will have one of my... I was trying to think of another word for a servant that wasn't employee, and it did not come to mind. So we'll just pretend that he said something far more eloquent.
Staff?
Staff, thank you. That's a
Associate.
much better word than I was
Worker.
looking. If you go by the house, I will have one of my staff fetch you the potions that you asked for. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you are dismissed from the council chambers, and with the idea that at sunset, there will be a member of Gellen's household in the house to give the signal should the ship appear.
Sometime during the like space between when we found everything and today, could Coral have gone back to the house and marked the safe path with a piece of chalk?
Absolutely.
So that their men don't fall through the floor?
Absolutely. That's not a problem.
Do we trust Galen?
Do you trust anyone? Really?
Yes, I trust you a lot.
Well, that's good to know.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I trust Gelen and most of the council about as far as I can throw him, which is not very far. I'm not very strong.
Like, because I can throw
There's
people from the top.
There's a couple of them that I know better just because they've been around for longer. I mean, Anders is not much older than me, so I've known him for a long time, and Edda's been around forever. She's friends with Gran, but beyond that, I can't really tell you much.
So Galen's the one that's going to be sending the signal. Who's to say that Galen's staff member doesn't just not give the right signal? I guess we just trust that this is how it's going to work out.
I mean,
Well, if they do send the wrong signal, we're not.
Then we can
That's
come
valid.
back and tell them that he gave the wrong signal. They could make an excuse, but
that's true. We can see the signal, and I've got the code. I mean, I gave them a copy, but it's not like I gave them the only copy.
Consider the test run then.
Sure.
If they don't pass this one, then that's pretty clear sign something went wrong.
You said you had something in mind for Dell.
Right. So, if there's no objections from anyone, what I was thinking might work well. If they signal that everything's all clear, if the other ship doesn't see anyone loading up the little skiff thing that they were loading and taking things to the big ship with, they're going to think it's a bit suspicious. If we've got Dahl there loading empty barrels, it'll look like he's loading the ship.
That's a good point, but he's pretty strong. Maybe they shouldn't be empty.
I mean, that we could play with a bit if we need to, but regardless, if we've got him there loading the ship up, it'll look like he's loading the ship to bring it to their ship.
It's a sound plan.
I wonder if they... I mean, when you went back there, did you go down in the basement? Did you see that if Q was still down there? I don't think they would have left him down there, but, people are weird.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't go into the basement when I was marking the building. I just made sure they wouldn't fall through the floor, because, it already happened once. And she kind of glances over at the group. She doesn't look pointedly at the person who fell through the floor. She just kind of glances at the group as a whole.
I mean, but she specifically looked down, which was kind of like telling. As Jaffer is significantly shorter than most of the group.
But regardless, I mean, the guards went to get him. Do we know if they went and got the guy out of the basement? I'm assuming he would have been dragged into the city for questioning or something.
Do you ask?
And more importantly, did we get our rope back?
That's true. We needed our rope back, so we would have asked.
I did ask for the rope back.
You did get your rope back, though they did not find anybody tied up.
It's unfortunate. It's
You
not a bad
really need
thing.
to work on your not work.
Apparently. Are you volunteering for practice then?
That could be highly entertaining to watch.
That wasn't a no.
I'm not dignifying that with a response.
You just
The
did.
amount of expression that you are able to give to crackers is amazing. I just need to tell you that. Just the sheer amount of unmitigated disgust in the look of crackers was fantastic.
Is
How
Urzak with
dare
us?
you. Urzak is with you, yes.
Oh, hi,
Just
Urzak. I
kind of
didn't see you there.
listening to this conversation, like, what the hell?
So what do you think about this? On the brains of the group, everyone else is really the muscle. So what do you think about this?
I think if Gwilyn needs to work on her rope work, I know several ways to tie a snare.
Technically, it wasn't actually my rope work. Just saying. I'm just the one who asked for the rope back.
That's true. It was me that tied him up, and apparently I didn't do as good a job as I thought I did.
Small hands, I can't do it either.
I'm sure you'll do better next time.
Or I can do it next time. I'm really good at it.
Okay.
I've heard rumors to that effect.
Don't be rude. Are there rumors? I really don't hear anything.
I meant because I have worked on ships since I was practically a child. But
Right.
that's not an unfair assessment.
Those are totally the rumors that we heard.
Those rumors aren't unfair, are they?
So other than us practicing our rope work, Urzak, is there anything that you can do other than make little fancy lights in your hand? I mean, I could do that too, obviously. Anything you offer to the group?
I can summon the spirits to heal you, provide us food, or disguise our passage. I'm afraid I'm not much use in the city. It is not my area of expertise.
Disguising our passage could be very useful, though. We're trying to be sneaky after all.
What I'm considering is, while they're loading the ship, we go from the water. I use my trusty rope and climb up the back of it, and then we just get onto the ship and just kill everyone.
I mean, I could work with that plan, to be honest.
I've heard worse.
Surely we want somebody alive for interrogation purposes.
Right,
Look
we'll
how
try.
well that went last time.
We did it, kind of, technically.
Well,
We
there's
will
that,
actually
but-
bring the person back ourselves and not leave them unattended.
Well, there's that. And also, we should probably try to keep alive the one that looks like he's in charge. Because we kept alive the ones that weren't last time, and they didn't really know anything.
I personally come from the philosophy that the strongest one should be in charge, and if someone can't take one hit from my cannon, it's not my problem. Sorry.
Also, he was a jerk, to be honest.
He was also a jerk, and we didn't take his clothes,
there's
did
that.
we? Fortunate.
No, you did not take his clothes.
That was coat.
It's true.
And his pipe.
And his armor.
And his bed sheets.
Yes.
And his books.
Yes.
You took a fair bit more than his clothes. All right. So are you guys making your way over to Gellen's estate for potions, or where is it that you are all heading?
Coral, at least, is going to go collect healing potions. She can do some healing, but just in case, she would like to have the backup.
Healing potions and a stiff drink.
Yes.
Right. So you guys make your way over to Gellen's estate?
Sure, yeah.
Yes. And you are met at the door, and you are given a small box containing 3 healing potions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry we didn't have more.
The most kind.
At least it's something.
As far as the drinks go, I was told to send something over to Motley's Tavern for you all as a nice, quiet, out-of-the-way spot for you all to think and prepare.
Sounds perfect.
Thank you. So I figure Fortune gets one. Gwilling gets one. Who's the third one going to go to?
Honestly, I think those of us that can't do any healing magic should probably be the ones to take them. Because if we can heal ourselves if we have to.
Herzog, can you heal people?
Yes, I can cast Healing Word, or excuse me, Healing Spirit.
Then everyone who cannot heal has a healing potion.
Much obliged.
Crackers, I know I know you're a bard like I am, but do you have any healing abilities?
Indeed I do.
I can vouch for that. He was actually very helpful last time.
That's right, I forgot about that. All right. It seems like a good idea to me anyway, if there's no objections.
Okay. I will hold the last one then, and if any of you need it, just come by and I'll give it to you.
All right. So where are you guys heading off to?
It's still the morning, right?
It is about mid-afternoon now, getting on towards
okay.
evening.
So we probably head to Motley's to plan?
Sure.
All right. You guys head over a couple of houses down Urzok. There, as you guys approach, there is kind of a little ramshackle, not necessarily a house. You would say it was a boat, actually, as you got closer. And then on closer exposure, it's several boats that have been kind of knocked up together, and maybe a house was put on top of them. It's a little bit of a strange contraption. And on the door is what looks like a gear and Motley's place, or Motley's pub written across it, and there is a bell right next to it.
What happens if you ring the bell?
She answers the door.
You really are for about in the sticks, aren't you?
I live in a swamp.
We all live in a swamp.
To be fair, if you live near the water or under the water, you can't really hear a bell go off very easy.
Can confirm. Ring the bell.
You hear a clatter of noise coming from inside the pub as Motley rushes towards the door. You hear a little clicking of feet against hardwood, and as you open up the door, you are greeted by the sight of a little golden bronze Modron with a big blue eye, fully made up with eyelashes, and her two little wings out behind her flapping excitedly. Oh goodness! Hi, welcome. Come in. I'm so nice. It's so nice to see you and have visitors. Come in. Oh, new people, and even better. Come in. I have drinks. I've got food. Gellin said you needed time to plan things, so I made sure that you have the entire run of the pub all to yourselves for whatever nefarious, sweet, wonderful, good-natured plans that you might have. But please, come on in. Oh, Jaffer, I have to say, the new pub lines are working fantastic. Your work, as always, is just phenomenal. But please,
hello, everyone.
It's good to see you, Motley.
Just you two, girl.
Pleasure as always, Motley. How are you today?
I'm excellent. It's wonderful to see you. Urzok, your hand is, grabbed by this little tiny creature, and she starts shaking your hand energetically. I'm Motley. It's really nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming to my pub. It's so nice to see new faces.
Thank you for letting me into your pub.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to
Is there a
get you whatever you
smoking
want.
section?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. There is a balcony right out there, and you look out, and out on towards the back of the pub, there is this balcony that cuts out over the bay where it's a little bit more quiet. There you don't see any houses behind it. It's just clear open water.
Urzok immediately points outside to Jaffer. We should plan there, and goes outside and lights.
Why?
Some of us try to protect our voices from the smoke when we can.
Crackers, can I get you anything? I have several different types of fruit. I have some fermented fruit as well, if you'd like that instead.
Tempting, but no, I don't think so today. Do you have any of those little sardines?
I do indeed. I will be right back with them. Can I get anybody else anything? Do you know what Urzok would like? I'm happy to bring it out to you.
Oh, no. I would like an ale, and I'm going to join Urzok. I'm going to just start to follow Urzok.
Great, no problem.
I'd love a mead, please. And make it 2. If he doesn't drink it, I'll drink his.
You've got it, Gwilyn.
I'll have some juice if you don't mind.
Sure. Jeff, are your usual?
Yes, please. I'll help you with that.
Oh, thank you. And she gets you all situated with your orders. Urzok, a mead is put in front of you. And she just lets you know if you would prefer something else, just to let her know. And she happily lets you guys plan in quiet, however you want.
While she's in the back getting the drinks, Gwilyn quietly slips the money for the drink and the tip, because she so often doesn't take it, just under something right by the bar, so she'll find it later. Then goes out to say.
Coral will join her and like add another coin for the juice.
Excellent. So it is a nice afternoon. Urzok, the breeze coming in off of the ocean is nice and fresh and cool. You get to take a couple deep breaths.
Everybody can see Urzok visibly relax because of the atmosphere and also because of the narcotic.
You should just vaporize that. It's so much better for your lungs. Jeff, like, pulls out like a clunk of like metal and she begins to work with it. It begins to click and like it seems like in the shape of a crab.
He just kind of stares at it and then just turns back out to the sea and takes another hit off his pipe.
That'll be pretty eventually.
What's that one going to be then?
This one will help burn the sails if need be.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
That'll be helpful.
Yeah, I understand that you shouldn't use fire on top of ships, but this is one that's hopefully going to be in dock, and we'll hopefully be able to take care of before it gets out of hand.
Well, that's a question too, actually. We don't know if the ship's going to be docked or if it's just going to sit in the harbor over by where the house was.
I'm considering take the 8-person ship, which we have not named yet, out into the and just kind of wait out there, and then slowly come in as the ship arrives, so then we can also see the signal.
Seems like a good plan. We've got to have something there, though, for Dahl to look like he's loading if we're going to do that plan as well.
Sure.
Crackers, you look like you were trying to say something.
No.
Fortune, do you join Urzok with your pipe?
I would actually probably like take it out and start to like fill it and look at Urzok. Like, you should try this one. It's got magic properties to it too, so it's worth trying, I think. And try to offer it to Urzok instead.
Yeah, no, he'll totally do a swap with you.
All right. So Urzok, you light this pipe and you put it to your lips, and it's a good pipe. It's very well crafted. It's got a good draw on it. And as you're smoking from it, you realize that the smoke in the air is getting a little thicker around you than with your previous pipe. I want you to tell me of a memory of Urzok doing something particularly heroic. Describe for me a moment in which Urzok was really effective at doing something for the greater good.
I mean, his definition of greater good is probably more in like the lines of saving animals from like a natural disaster than saving people. So
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah. So probably like a water spouter or a typhoon is hitting, and he's doing his best to get animals out from under a deadfall.
So you watch a little bit as you notice the smoke thickening as forms begin to take shape in it. And you see that memory played out in the smoke. Visions of you saving animals, rushing into disaster to make sure that the creatures of the forest are completely safe. And time and again, you watch, the group can watch as the smoke changes to, you see Urzok casting spells to save these animals. You see Urzok facing off natural disasters to make sure that the land is safe as it should be. As the Pipe of Memories plays out his heroic scene in front of you.
That's interesting.
Oh, this is some good shit.
All right. So you've now watched Urzok's most heroic moments.
So, Fortune, you had that first?
I had that, and I took it from man and the one that was shot.
He took it from the weak asshole that fell from your cannon.
Right. Yeah. So when you smoked a Fortune, what did it look like?
It was the time when we were caught in a storm and I had to climb up to fix the sail.
Wow. That's really cool, Urzok, how you did that.
It is necessary. The spirits of this land can become wild and out of control if they are not properly propitiated.
Urzok, there is something that has been troubling you lately about the spirits. In the Huel Marches, where you live on the outskirts of the Deadwood, it's been difficult lately. The spirits that you normally see are fewer and far in between. While it's usually very ripe with activity, even the animals seem to be avoiding the entrance to the woods lately. Just a little thing to keep in mind. As for later. Crackers, you've been awfully quiet. Is there anything going on in your fascinating little brain?
Well, thank you for saying so. No, nothing in particular. I'm just sort of enjoying the outdoors. The sky as it gets close to sunset is quite lovely. And I think we have something of a plan. I'm not sure what else we need to discuss.
Excellent. So in case there isn't anything else that anyone would like to do, why don't we go ahead and jump a little bit forward in time to just after sunset this evening. Is there anything in particular that anyone else had?
Tess, I'm not sure how tightly you're tracking the spells we have listed in D&D Beyond. But
Not terribly.
I would. Okay, then I won't worry about too much.
Not terribly concerned. If I notice that you've cast like 5 or 6,
it was more about
spells at this point, I might be a little like, "What you doing?"
It was more about which ones I have listed, considering that I didn't really know what we were up against, and they're just
No. For the record, I never mind people prepping spells on the fly, because a lot of times you won't know necessarily what you're going to be going up against until the plan for the session is kind of revealed. So I never worry about that in particular, especially for people who prep spells, who are ritual casters or prep daily. I don't worry about it too much. Alrighty. So it is just after dark on the evening. You have all loaded down by your little skipjack. It will hold the 8 of you. Dal has been dispatched to the cave below the house to give the appearance of stacking up goods. And as the night gets darker and one by one, the lights in Saltmarsh blink off as the working folk and the early risers who have to fish in the morning go to bed. Lights appear on the horizon as a tall ship makes its way into the little inlet. It's hard to see as it is dark, but you do catch the glinting of light as something makes its way in. After a while, because you are so keenly watching for it, you see flashes of light, one long, followed by 3 short flashes. And not much later, 4 flashes. One short, then long. One short, then long.
That was the signal. She's looking at her paper. That was the signal to say everything's safe.
Good so far, then.
And then, long, long, long.
That's the ready to unload signal.
Okay, once they go and stop their ship in the inlet, we can go and sneak on, hey?
The galleon moves forward a little bit more and then stops. It doesn't seem to be moving any further inlet. Dal, knowing what to do, does bring his little skiff out to sea. You estimate it'll take him about 20 to 30 minutes to reach the boat. You should act fairly quickly if you're going to act.
All right, let's get going.
Alright, I would like you guys... How is it that you are approaching? I assume stealthily, or are you approaching with lights on? How is it that you are heading out?
I can conjure a fog cloud if we need something to kind of mask our passing, but I don't know what the rest of the area looks like if a fog cloud would stand out on its own.
It is dark on the ocean. There doesn't seem to be any really lights on. One side of the starboard side of the ship is facing in towards town. The port side of the ship is facing towards the heel marshes and forest. At the angle that you're going, you would hit the starboard side that is facing toward town. You could potentially swing around and come at it from the angle towards the forest, which is away from the house if you wanted to. It might add about 5 or 10 minutes more, though, to your trip.
Okay. How's everyone's night vision?
Good.
Non-existent.
All right. Well, I can see in the dark and I can swim in the water at the same time. So I don't know if we want to go following me towards the ship so we could keep the lights off.
I'm fine with the water.
Marcus can perch on one of us, so he doesn't have to fly blindly.
True.
You're speaking of me.
Yes.
I know where the ship is. I can fly to it.
That is fair.
That's true.
You
There's
could act
birds
as
at
a
night.
lookout. You could act as a bit of a lookout up ahead for
That's
us
a good
too.
idea. If you just kind of fly over, if you feel comfortable doing that, and then just kind of perch out of view, and then you'll see when, the fireworks are happening.
Well, if you don't mind, Crackers, I do have prestidigitation. I could maybe color you a bit to look like an owl for a little while.
You dare! I take great pride in my plumage. I will not have its color fiddled with.
Just a camouflage. Not permanent. You know what prestidigitation is. It's going to wear off.
I shall be quite fine without it, thank you. Dungeon Master, are there lights on the ship at all?
There were. They have appeared to blink out. After you saw the flashes, the signals, there are no more lights that you can see on the ship. They have gone dark.
Urzok leans down to Coral and says, if he can't see in the dark, he won't know if you change his plumage.
That's fair enough, but I'm trying not to cause more problems between our group if I don't have to. A bit of sass is one thing, but forcing something on him that he really doesn't want is a different idea altogether.
He would probably cause a commotion. We do not want to give away the element of surprise.
There's also that.
I can at least fly to the ship and take a look and see if there are any people moving about on deck.
That's true. If you can get a head count, or at least a bit of an idea of how many people there are, it'll give us a better idea of what we're up against.
And I believe you have a way of letting us know from a bit of a distance if you have to as well.
Yes, I can send a magical message.
I do know how magic works,
All right. So, Crackers, you take off and are heading towards the ship to get a view. Yes?
Yes.
Go ahead
Right.
and roll perception, please.
Any sort of disadvantage for the darkness?
Yes. Go ahead and roll with disadvantage. I definitely should have said that, but I wasn't thinking about the darkness until you said that, so.
14.
All right. So even with the darkness, it's fairly easy to see. There is a good bit of moonlight tonight. You can see the main deck as you fly by has two bandits on it that are facing inward towards the town, looking towards the little skiff that is slowly being paddled out towards sea. No one appears to be watching the back part of the ship. Other than that, it is quiet.
I shall alight on the crow's nest.
Okay.
And I shall send a message to Fortune relaying that there are 2 persons on the deck at the moment. The aft of the ship seems to be unwatched and unguarded at the moment.
I'll pass on the information.
Excellent.
So, do any of you need to be able to breathe underwater?
I mean, if we're swimming for long enough, I do, but otherwise I'm alright.
I'm good, thanks.
I can't breathe underwater.
She takes off her circlet, which gets much bigger as she takes it off. Well, if either of you want this allows you to breathe underwater. It's a bit tacky, maybe. I made it when I was younger.
I will take it because I don't have any special ability to swim either.
It counts as a helm of water breathing, I think, or cap of water breathing. I think it's cap of water breathing,
Yes.
but it is a circlet. Unless you breathe underwater. And then Jaffer puts her hood up, which causes her to be underwater as well.
All right.
All right, is everyone ready?
Right? We take the lead then?
Let's get swimming.
Jaffer slides in as she's wearing armor.
So you guys make your way out to the ship. Fortune and Urzak, are you guys riding in the other on a fishing boat out there with, or how many people are swimming? How many people are in a boat?
Swimming.
Swimming.
How far is the boat?
It's probably, it's like a 5 or 6 minute swim.
Yeah, then I'm swimming.
Swimming? All right. So you guys all make your way out.
Quieter.
It is quieter. The sound of your approach are masked by the waves. And you reach the ship. And all you have to do is climb up. But of course, it is wet, a little cold, and a little dark. So I'd like you all to make, let's see. Please make me athletics checks to climb up the ship, please.
I do something.
About how high up is it from the water to the top of the ship?
It is about 15 to 20 feet.
Jaffer pulls out her rope, whispers to it, and it sneaks up and knots itself and ties to the railing.
Excellent. You do not have to make your check at disadvantage.
Now, do we have to have disadvantage?
That's a one.
So do all of us get to use the rope, or just do we get
Everybody can
disadvantage?
use the rope.
Awesome. So that's a 16 then.
All right.
My second roll was not 20, so I guess I still have to go with the first one, which is a 19 total.
15.
All right.
Oh, then that
18.
Okay. So everybody makes it most of the way up. Jaffer, you slip and fall back into the water with a loud splash. And I will roll to see if they notice. Nope, they don't notice anything. They're still keeping their eyes on the other shore. Because I can't roll to save my life.
I will send another message and say, "You're very lucky. I'm pretty sure this ship is captained or is crewed by the deaf."
We're very lucky then. Assuming it was responding to her.
You gonna try again? Or are you going to...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Nat 20.
Alright, you are up the rope in, like, no time at all. Shaking yourself off like nothing happened. I meant to do that.
Just turn my rope snakes up onto my waist and just curls itself up there.
Alright, so you can see two men across from you at the other railing of the ship, peering out into the darkness. If you would like to do anything, let me know now. If you make a attack, we will go into initiative, but you will get to take your attack since they do not know that you are there.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Were there any as we got closer to the ship to see it, or is there anything defining about it? Does it have a name or anything?
You know what? It would have been really, really awesome had I totally remembered to read to you any sort of description about the ship, I suppose. Yes, as you get closer, you do see the name The Sea Ghost emblazoned on the ship. It is a large 3-decked ship, very tall mast. You can see it, the name of the ship painted along both sides of the prow. It's about 90 feet long, and it stands about 15 feet above the water line, and the top of its main deck is another 2 to 3 feet beyond that. There's also a jolly boat lashed along the main deck upside down as an extra means of transportation.
You said the Sea Ghost?
The Sea Ghost.
The one that goes coast to coast?
Yes.
Is the name familiar to me at all?
I was
Go ahead and make a check.
What kind of check is it?
History is what I meant to say.
It's 15 with my -1. It's 15.
All right. Fortune, this name does not sound familiar to you. Gwilyn, you can also make a history check. But it's a bitchin' name. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a 4.
Yeah, doesn't sound familiar to you either. All right. So you were all on board the Sea Ghost.
It's probably for the best anyway.
What is it you would like to do?
Gwilyn would raise a sword quietly and look at the others and tip it like hilt or blade and gesture towards the 2 crew members.
Coral pulls out her rapier and her dagger and leaves them blade out.
Gwilyn will grin and try to, as far as she can quietly, go up to them before attacking.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys roll initiative. They do not know that you are there, so you'll go ahead and get to act at least first, and then we'll let them act if they even get a chance to. Heather, do you want to be our initiative tracker again? You did an excellent job last time.
Do.
The 2 bandits are going on 9.
Also a 9.
I got a 10. Wow.
My dex is 3 if that makes a difference for you.
You would go first. They have a dex of +1.
11.
19.
Uh, 17.
You could dive bomb them from above for your attack.
I love Urzok going before Gwilyn because she just started to draw his sword and he was just ready to go, apparently.
Right?
All right.
Well, she was questioning, and he's just like, no, we're going.
All right.
That's what it was.
Urzok, start us off.
Okay, not trying to show off or anything, but that was a natural 20 for a Thorn Whip attack.
Nice.
All right, which of the bandits are you attacking? Bandit 1 or Bandit 2?
We'll start with Bandit 1 by virtue
Excellent.
of numerical order.
Alrighty. So this Thorn Whip comes out of seemingly nowhere. Go ahead and do damage. Remember, since you are a nat 20, it is like we did in Countless Heroes. So it's your max damage, then plus your roll.
Okay, so in that case, it's 1d6 piercing damage, so that's 6, plus I rolled a 5, so 11 damage. And if he is still standing, he is pulled up to 10 feet closer to me, so I will pull him toward the advancing Gwilyn.
Okay. So this thorn whip lashes out, wraps around him, drags him towards him, and he just drops without a sound. Just in time for the other bandit to turn around, shocked as his companion is killed within seconds. Crackers.
I shall, first of all, hold down the push-to-talk button, and then I shall fly down, and at the entryway to where I believe the door is that would lead to below decks, I shall pull a small pouch out of my bag and spill caltrips across the deck.
Excellent. Alrighty. Is there anything else that you are doing this turn?
That shall be all. I shall perch near the door, but that shall be.
Alright. Jaffer.
Is there anything around me that weighs like 1 to 5 pounds?
Oh, there are plenty of things around you that weigh 1 to 5 pounds.
Jeff's going to pull out a bellows, open it, suck it up, and what would it be?
Probably a small piece of wood or something that is chipped off of a crate.
Sure.
A lathing, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So she pulls this bellows up and begins to suck it up. And as she does, that piece of wood kind of suctions up to her bellows, and she turns it towards the other bandit and presses it down while whispering something. And she casts Catapult.
Nice. Is that a save or is that a range attack?
That is a save. That's to make a dex save.
Okay. That is a natural 1. So he does not make that save.
CC 13.
Yeah, that's definitely not gonna work in his favor.
Okay, that's 3d8 bludgeoning damage. $16 points of bludgeoning damage. A piece of wood smacks this other one.
All right, he drops as well. And the folks inside do not hear them hit the deck because, again, not rolling well tonight.
Good job, team.
You have successfully made your way onto the sea ghost without anyone noticing that you're here.
Perfect.
Sounds good. All right. So who wants to go down and take a look-see then?
I mean, who doesn't?
I'll be in the back. I'm really quiet.
Well, I mean, who wants to go down and see how many people exactly?
Yes, well, I think we should check the cabins on this level first, and then we can go down.
Sounds sensible.
All right. Do you like? There are four. Well, there are a few doors that you can go to. There is a as you are facing the bow of the ship. There are 3 doors that greet you, and as you're facing the aft of the ship, there are 4 doors that greet you. 2 smaller ones in the center, and then a larger one on either side.
Jaffer would also have tried to. I don't know if it's possible to save the 2 deckhands by ways of spare the dying, as they just went down. Or are they, like, beyond?
They are. You guys did a little bit of extra damage well above and beyond their capacities, so I'm going to say there really is no saving them. If you want to save people, please let me know that you are doing non-lethal.
She didn't think of it until afterwards, when she saw the guy just smack down and go, oh, again?
This keeps happening.
Just in character mode, like Jaffer, like slowly creaking over checking their pulses, like, damn.
Too late.
So let me know which direction you guys are going.
Let's see. So we're on the upper deck or the main deck?
You are on the main deck.
Okay. And we're what, like
Yes.
in the middle roughly?
You are currently in the
Over
middle.
here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would Gwilyn know the type of ship well enough to have an idea of like the difference between where cargo would more likely to be and where there are more likely to be people?
You would know that ships like this are, especially ships that are trying to be discreet, technically run fairly light on crew and are only staffed with as many people as it absolutely is necessary to take. On a ship like this, if they're getting ready for cargo to be unloaded, people are most likely going to be below decks or in rooms gathering cargo. So they could be anywhere at this point, depending on how much cargo needs to be shifted. You imagine, though, that any very illicit goods would probably be down in the hold.
If you're going to check anything, I'd check near the front, and then if you don't see anyone in there, we go down.
Sounds like a plan then. Would they be unloading or getting ready to pack everything up?
Well, if they're coming to get things, then they'd be preparing to receive the cargo. In which case, they'd probably be further down. If they have cargo, most of them would still be further down.
How far is the ship from the cove?
You imagine there's probably at least another 10 minutes of rowing for Dal before he gets to the ship.
Okay.
We've got some time. So what door would you like to pick?
Do you want to start with the right then? And she gestures at the front right door.
This one? This one up here? Okay. Everyone in favor of that one?
Sure.
Would work.
Sounds good to me.
Crackers, was that a yes or a no? I couldn't tell if you were shaking your head no or a I am indifferent.
Oh, very indifferent.
All right. Are you being stealthy as you approach the store?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and roll me a stealth check. And who is opening the door?
We don't really have a tank. Who wants to open the door?
I'll do it.
All right. Gwilyn, roll me a stealth check as you open that door.
That's a 22.
All right. So you creak open the door quietly, and the first thing that hits you is the smell of marsh or swamp, maybe, as it wafts out of the room. It's not fetid or oppressive in any way. It's just noticeable. You can see, you have dark vision, right?
Right.
So you can see that in the center of this room is a wood table that has been bolted to the deck. And on the table sits a silver jug half full of red liquid and 3 pewter mugs surrounding it. There are 3 chairs surrounding the table, and an unlit hooded lantern is hanging above. You can just make out 3 hammocks, one at each end of the cabin slung between bulkheads and one of the ship's ribs, and the third hanging across the corner of the cabin from next to the aft door to the central bulkhead. Each hammock is occupied by a scaled figure. There is a small chest or some sort in the middle, lying underneath the most forward hammock, and there appear to be weapons under each of the hammocks. What is it that you do?
Gwilyn would try to make a hand signal to at least Coral, who she knows can see her, to indicate there are people. She'd hold up 3 fingers. And then she would try to go in quietly to take them out. Because leaving them is a bad idea.
Okay. Alrighty. So, because these figures are asleep, go ahead and let me know what it is exactly you are doing to the first one, and then we'll go into initiative to see if they will even wake up.
She would... Actually, because they're sleeping, she would probably take her dagger instead of her sword and just slit the throat of the...
Alright. Go ahead and make an attack roll. At advantage, he's prone.
That's a 16.
Alright, that hits just fine. Go ahead and roll damage.
I do not see my dagger. Hold on. I know I put one in.
It's a D4 plus your dex.
I see it now. Thank you. I didn't hit it, apparently, so it wasn't listed.
I hate when that happens.
That's a 7.
All right. So you stealthily and quietly kill this poor, helpless lizard folk in their bunk, while the other 2 sleep on unaware. Let's go ahead and go into initiative, and we'll see if they'll wake up in time to have anything get saved.
All of us, or just Gwilyn and the lizard folk?
Is anyone not going in to help Gwilyn?
Coral definitely would.
Okay.
I am.
Urzok will stay out on the deck to keep watch.
Okay.
22.
All right.
17.
Okay.
21.
All right.
12.
Okay. I rolled a 2. So, given that there are not many of them, there are only 2 more of them, and given your initiative orders, I don't think that they will have a chance to wake up, and I know that there are far more interesting things on this ship than 3 sleeping lizard folk. If everyone is okay with it, I would like to go ahead and skip through this combat of sleeping people to the goods that might be found in this room, if you are so interested. All right, so after the last lizard folk is dispatched, you hear a small chirp behind the chest underneath the hammocks. And you see a small pseudo-dragon looking out at you with big, big eyes, a little scared, since you basically killed its bonded master without even a thought. And he's just kind of hiding, looking at the group, a little afraid. He looks over at all of you and looks at Urzok standing outside, seeing that he didn't come in, and takes flight and lands on Urzok's shoulder and just kind of curls up on it like This is my friend now. The rest of you are scary.
Oh well.
Could be.
I'll try speaking to it in primordial, see if it understands it all.
It just kind of looks at you. What is it that you say?
It's all right. You're safe. I won't let any harm come to you.
Kind of buries
Which
its...
probably in primordial probably comes across as just a general feeling of safety.
Mm-hmm. He just kind of buries his head into your cheek like, okay.
I got a pet.
You do have a pet. His name is Bims. And he is now a bonded pseudo-dragon to you.
You're so cute.
That escalated quickly.
It did. You can decipher that the jug on the table is full of wine and is probably worth about 25 gold. There is a locked chest. So if anyone would like to check that out, let me know.
I shall fly down and examine the locked chest.
All right. Would you like to make a perception check?
Certainly.
Also, just as a note, Gwyn's checking pockets.
Mm-hmm.
See if they had anything.
Got it.
Perception of 15.
Excellent. You see that there is a key hanging in one of the hammocks that looks like it probably matches this chest.
Aha! I shall fly up and retrieve the key and bring it down to the chest.
Excellent. Do you go ahead and open the chest up?
Yes, I put the key in and like that.
All right. Inside the chest, you find a note and 10 100 gold ingots.
I shall pull out the note and read it.
What languages do you speak? I feel like I'm being stared down at the moment. It's just like, how dare you?
I had to consult my character sheet. My apologies.
No, it's okay. It's that much more amusing to me.
I read common.
Okay. Unfortunately, you cannot decipher this note. It seems a little bit more rustic than common. That is a terrible term. I'm not sure what I am looking for at the moment. But it's not quite decipherable.
Yeah, can anyone read this note? It accompanied these large gold bars, which are mine, but I am willing to show.
Gwyn could use comprehend languages and read it.
All right. Gwyn, this note is an order form from the chieftain of these lizard folk to this vessel. It is an order for a multitude of weapons. Seems like they're trading weapons in addition to something else, perhaps. You're not sure how many lizard folk there are or where they're located, but there seems to be enough weapons on this order to outfit 50 to 60 people.
Well, that's not good. And she would pass that on.
Right.
No, it's not.
No.
Urzok. Hello. Yes, out there, Urzok. Do you know of any populations of lizard folk living out in the swamps?
I'll refer that question to my dungeon master.
You do. There is a very large lizard folk encampment not very far from the city at all. They're a little bit more towards the coast than particularly in your area, but there is a large settlement, yes.
Presumably not on great terms with the city.
And from what you know, they do not have much dealings, if any, with the city at all.
Do I have any dealings with them?
And kind of just avoid each other.
Okay, so I say they're not naturally belligerent necessarily.
Correct. Ooh, thank you for the follow.
All right. So yeah, I mean, they are here. They don't bother me. I don't bother them. Although I think we've very thoroughly bothered these three.
Yeah, I'll say.
Bims kind of makes a little sad noise while hiding in your braids.
They
Does
can't
the
have
form
been
say
good-
it's from the lizard folk?
But if they are arming for some kind of an uprising, that doesn't bode well for your town.
No, that's true. It could be quite a problem.
just a bit of one.
All right.
Is there any indication from the words whether this order has been filled?
You get the idea that the lizard folk are here on the ship to ensure the delivery of this order. There is another door directly across, leading further towards the prow of the ship.
Shall we keep moving?
Yes.
Do you want-
There's nothing else in this room.
There's nothing else in this room. Do you move across the room and through the next door, or do you go out and back in through a different door?
Probably across the room, I would think.
Yeah, same. Just work our way around in a loop.
I'll
So
go first if you like.
Right. You go ahead and open up the door, and you find in this room 2 coiled lengths of rope and 3 rolls of sailcloth alongside a large box. There's a large wooden cask next to 6 more lengths of wood planking and set into a wooden rack fastened to the bulkhead by a door. There are 2 metal-handled hammers, 2 wooden mallets, 2 saws, and an adze. There's an opening about 3 square feet with its lower edge about 7 feet above the deck in the other bulkhead, looking like you can probably get through yet to another room on the other side.
So it looks kind of like the tool room.
Mm-hmm.
She'd check the box just to make sure.
Shipbuilding supplies. There's some nails in here, some extra tools, few more fasteners. It's got some dried, hardened tar in there as well.
Not the sort of things we're looking for unless you really have a building project coming up, Jaffa.
Lady never tells.
How hard is the tar? Like, could you stick a dagger in it?
No, it is.
It's like a rock.
It is like a rock.
Okay.
You could probably heat it up and make it pliable again, but it's pretty much just rock hard at this point.
Is the bucket, is it like a wooden bucket that it's in?
Yeah,
or
it's like a full cask.
Okay.
All right. If you wanted to take it. Glenn.
What was that?
Take more rope if you want to take it.
There is lots of rope in here, yes.
I would take the rope.
Okay.
If it looks usable, I'd take at least part of the rope. One
Alright.
of them.
Name one thing you're gonna need this stupid rope for.
Listen, we end up tying up a lot of people on this job somehow. I don't know how it keeps happening, but this lot like to leave people alive sometimes. And then we have to tie them up.
It's all right. You never know when a rope could come in handy.
Hey, do you not work? Well, I don't suppose you ever go on ships, do you? Pity that.
Okay. Do you continue into the next room, or
Yes.
do you go back around?
She checked the other room just to be sure.
As you enter that room, you see that this is probably galley storage. It's full of hardtack, dried sausages, food stores, some flour. Nothing, no people in here. But you do see another door.
She'd just keep going.
Right. As you go through that door, it is the galley, and you see the kitchen area, which is empty as well, and then a door beyond that, which leads back out onto the main deck.
So, can we go down there?
Yes.
Is my pseudo dragon feeling at all talkative yet, or is it still kind of in a?
It's starting to get a little talkative. It just, you get more emotions and pictures, but you get the idea that he's pretty much bonding to you and is
Anything?
will basically be
Anything
your
it can intuit to me about the layout of the rest of a ship, or where certain people or things might be found?
You get images of people to the aft of the ship, and brief flashes of.
I'd be particularly interested in where they're keeping the slaves.
You kind of feel you don't know that the pseudo dragon, since he was bonded to the lizard folk, has been in that part of the ship.
Fair enough.
Okay, but you said people to the aft of the ship, so like the back end of the ship where we haven't been yet?
Correct.
Has the ship been stopped, or is it still?
It is
floating?
anchored. It is.
Okay.
It is stopped.
Are we set on continuing this stealthy approach?
For preference.
I mean, it's the safest when we don't know how many people are on the ship.
I'll cast Pass Without Trace on the party.
Ready.
Much obliged.
Thank you.
And everybody help me remember that's my concentration spell until further notice.
You got it.
I remember that issue coming up in Countless Heroes a lot.
Yes. Concentration spells.
So before we head downstairs, are we in agreement about who it is we wish to keep alive for questioning?
Whoever looks important, like they might actually know what's going on, and not the hired hands this time.
You can also knock them out and just, if they don't know anything, then they go over.
I agree with Fortune. If these men are trafficking in other people, they deserve no mercy.
I'm not equipped for mercy, but I'll try.
I have to say, I'm not really interested in mercy when it comes to slavers.
Oh no, me.
Agreed.
I have to agree, especially when they've been taking people from my home.
Yeah.
For some time, from the looks of things.
Right?
My
So-
mother came to Saltmarsh in such a boat as this. I have no interest in seeing these men left alive.
All right.
Completely understood.
So let's be very vocal and let's communicate on if we think an individual we're going up against should be kept alive. Consensus, okay? So if you think someone should, please voice it. Don't say afterward.
Perhaps we could come up with some kind of word of safety for these people.
Sure.
You know, this game has a lot more ropes and safe words than I had kind of anticipated. Just,
Same.
you know.
I'm
You
not
read
really.
my information when I sent it to you.
No,
I
no.
sleep with a lot of you.
I was not expecting it from anyone else, Jay. I was prepared from Fortune.
All right. That's not a bad idea. So what did you have in mind, Urzok?
Do what now?
Our safe word.
For your safe word?
I don't have a safe word.
Good to know.
It would be good to get one. Just Just say that this is the one you want to keep alive.
It's pretty wordy, but I'll try.
All right.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Just
This
Call
something
sanctuary.
crazy like banana.
Banana's good.
All right. So there is a small door to the one that to the left of the one that you just exited, or there are more doors. The 4 doors across from you at the aft of the ship.
If I put my ear up to the smaller door, do I hear anything?
You do not. It is very quiet.
It's quiet through this door.
All right. So do we want to head to the aft of the ship where the little one said there's more people, or do we want to go downstairs?
Hold on one second. Jeffrey's going to run around the front to the other side where the 3 lizard folk were sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And that we probably had closed that door. Is there a way to lock it?
Yeah, you could lock it from the inside.
Okay. I use my thieves' tools and I lock it from the
Right.
side.
So you lock up that door. Perfect.
Just in case someone comes by. Oh, look. There's 3 of them dead. It's great. Get a little bit of trouble. And she'll run back. Okay, we're good.
It's a good idea.
Good thinking.
Thank you. That's why I'm the brains.
I'll let you go.
You
All
keep
right.
right on believing that.
Where is it that you guys head off to?
So down then? Or are we checking those other rooms?
Well, I feel like we might want to check out the rooms that are up here. I mean, the worst thing that could happen would be we'd be on the stairs and get trapped between 2 groups of people.
Sure enough.
I'd rather not
So-
be pigeonholed.
So Gwilyn will open the one on the... Well, we'd be closest to the one on the right. Well, it's our right now.
Okay, so the bottom right. Got it. Okay.
Still trying to be quiet.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check then, please.
Just as a reminder, with Pass Without Trace, you get a +10 bonus to stealth checks.
Which gives me 23. Thank you.
Excellent. As you sneak in to open the door, your stealthy approach is not noticed. But as you open up this room, you can tell that this appears to be one of the master cabins, and the furnishings and fittings of the room are of very good quality. In fact, almost too good of quality. Single bunk made up with very nice bed linens, a polished wooden table, and a gentleman hunched over the table, furiously scribbling in a book. He doesn't appear to have noticed you yet. What would you like to do?
Try and stealth forward and knock him out.
All right, go ahead
With
and make a spell check. Or spell check. Wow, sorry. Stealth check. It's been a very long week, guys. Sorry about that.
Yes, go over to his book and put some red squiggly lines under words that he's misspelled.
Yes, this is very
That's
important.
what we do to slavers. Take that.
Furiously
That's-
correct their grammar.
I love this
Shame
punishment.
them
Shame you with grammar.
for their grammar, not their activities, but their grammar.
Yeah.
Right. The important thing. That's a 25.
Alrighty. Well, let's see if he notices you. It is, he definitely doesn't notice you. However, the alarm spell that he casts around his door does go off the second you step foot through the threshold. And he looks up, and we're going to roll initiative.